Hello everybody, welcome back to another Borderlands 2 unofficial community patch video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the classic melee Krieg. And the unofficial community patch doesn't really change Krieg's melee significantly. He does scale a bit better in the UCP, and the legendary sickle comm, which is what we will be using, instead of Pain is Power, you get Fire Fiend, which I do believe to be a better skill for melee Krieg. So those are the two main differences. But honestly, guys, you shouldn't notice a huge difference. It's going to be good on the vanilla game or the unofficial community patch. So yeah, let's go ahead and run through the gear. Um, Slaga, great slagging weapon, not much to say. And then I just basically picked three weapons that benefited from Krieg's explosive damage buffs. This is kind of up to you guys. You can pick whatever you want. The build is obviously reliant on melee, so it's not super important. I just picked things that could proc Bloodbath and deal a lot of damage in case we go down or if we're in a pinch, and I believe these three weapons are very good at that. Bada Boom, Herald, and Peak Opener. But just choose whatever you want. And then we are using the Rough Rider. Gives us a lot of damage resistance and max health. Very good for melee build. And I'm sure many of you know this by now, but never use a Roid Shield on Krieg because if you use Silence the Voices with a Roid Shield, um, you will hit yourself very, very hard, and it's not worth it. Moving on, we're using the Sickle, best melee comm for Krieg. Boosts a lot of good skills, gives us melee damage. And then a low level Bouncing Bonnie is very important. This is a low level because we basically just want to spam these and slag everything without killing ourselves. Um, or ourself. So yeah, that's the idea there. You can also use the Pandemic. It will help you stack some Bloodlust. This is just preference, and I may end up switching this around. And then for the Relic, we're just going to use the Blood of the Ancients. Gives us some more tankiness with health, and then ammo for the weapons that we commonly like to use on Krieg. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into the build. Take our action skill, and then we'll go ahead and go down the middle tree. Our comm boosts this. We may as well put a value point there. It gives a solid amount of melee damage, and furthermore, if our shield is down, which it always is. Very cool. And then we will take Feed the Meat. And we do want to max this because the max health is really nice. It really, really helps us survive. And then we're going to go ahead and max Embrace the Pain. Extra fire rate while our shield is down, which it always will be. Really can't complain about that. Nice DPS boost. And then we don't need Thrill of the Kill because our action skill, every time we kill someone, we instantly refill our health. No point in Thrill of the Kill. Light the Fuse is not so great, even on the UCP where it gets buffed. It's better in the early game, but not worth it here. So we'll go ahead and take Strip the Flesh. Gives us a nice explosive damage buff, and it's even further buffed when we are in Fight for Your Life mode. Then we will take Redeem the Soul. Extra 5 for your lifetime. Can't complain. Salt the Wound is another good skill for the melee Krieg build. We get extra melee damage when we take damage from an enemy while our shield is down, which is literally going to be all the time. So yes, this is a good skill, for sure. And honestly, I think it is worth it to just go ahead and max that. Then moving on, the vast majority of our melee damage comes from Silence the Voices, which gives us 500% melee damage with a comm, but it gives us a chance to hit ourselves. And that kind of hurts when we do, and that 12% chance is a damn lie. It feels like you hit yourself way more often than that, but it is still worth the point. And then lastly, Release the Beast. This is an obvious choice. When we get the exclamation point next to the health bar, which means we are below 33% health, and we can transform into a mutant badass psycho. And this gives us huge melee damage and damage reduction. Great skill. And it's a full HP regen as soon as we use it, so it's really strong. Moving on, we will go ahead and move on to the Bloodlust tree. You could take either one of these, magazine size or the weapon swap speed. They're both really good. I like the magazine size. I like both, but we'll just go with the magazine size for this build. Don't need either one of these. We'll take this. This greatly increases our survivability during Buzzak's Rampage, giving us significant damage reduction based on our Bloodlust stacks. Awesome. And then we will go ahead and move on down here. We pretty much want all three of these. They're fantastic skills with melee Krieg. Feel the Blood is awesome. So when we get a melee attack, it increases our grenade damage. And what this allows us to do essentially is if we kill someone with melee, we can start throwing our axes with the dynamite attached to it that will then be buffed by the grenade damage. So that's a very nice and simple combo. And then we will go ahead and grab a Bloodbath Max 2. Excuse me. This skill is pretty much always too good to pass up, and with all the explosive weapons we have in our arsenal, there's a good chance we'll be benefiting from it at some point. And then lastly, we will take Boiling Blood to get to Blood Explosion. More blood, less stacks is always great. The longer we have it, the more damage reduction, magazine size, etc. that we have. And then of course Blood Explosion allows us to chain overkill damage into massive DPS. Excuse me. Alright, moving on to Hellborn. We don't need Burn Baby Burn because we're not reliant on burn damage. Fuel the Fire is better in this case. We want to be ignited so we have the benefits of the Hellborn tree, while also giving us a higher chance for elemental effects like Slag. And then Numb Nerves, really nice for this build. 50% damage reduction while we're on fire. That's great, especially when we're in melee. Very, very nice. Pain as Power is usually a good skill, but we're not as reliant on it here, and I think the other options that we have are generally a bit better. Okay, we'll go ahead and take delusional damage, so our Slag can light us on fire. That should help. And then we'll take a value point into Fire Fiend. You can max this if you're in the vanilla game. I think that would also be worth it. But since we are in UCP with the sickle, I don't think there's a point in getting it to 10. Like 6 points is plenty. But if you're in the vanilla game, you can definitely max this. It's a good skill for this build. The melee ignite chance is really nice, so we're getting benefits from Numb Nerves and Elemental Elation, the other skill that we are going to take. And we're just going to go ahead and max it. Extra fire rate and magazine size. Yeah, I mean, there's really not much to say. It's just a good skill. And then it's kind of up to you guys. If you're in vanilla, you're probably going to be maxing Fire Fiend and then taking Elemental Empathy for just a little bit of extra healing. It's not going to hurt. But for me on the UCP, I'm probably going to take Flame Flare, so we're benefiting from Numb Nerves and Elemental Elation as much as possible. So, and then with the last 2 points, we will go ahead and get Elemental Empathy, just so we have a little bit of sustain from our Slag and other grenades or elemental weapons. And especially if you guys aren't using the same build as I am and you have some elemental weapons in there, it's definitely not bad. This isn't necessary by any means. I could have put those last 2 points into just maxing Flame Flare or putting more points into Fire Fiend. It's totally up to you guys, but I'm going to go ahead and roll with this build because I think it's quite strong. So yeah, guys, here's the build. Krieg's always in the way. Can kind of see it. But yeah, we'll go ahead and move it on over to the gameplay. Alright, we are back with the gameplay. Here is the gear and the build. And we'll go ahead and get into it. And I think I'll play a little bit of music in the background. Alright, let's get started. Oh, whoa. I think I got a little too close, but that's fine. Melee is obviously the idea behind this build. Anyway. Yeah, once we get that melee kill, it's good to just throw the axes, because we get the bonus. How in the hell is that not hitting him? That was interesting. And we'll go back into Release the Beast. Here's that 12%. Oh man. Yeah, that melee damage, or sorry, grenade buff we get when we get a melee kill is really nice with the throwing axe. Yeah, basically we're just waiting to release the beast chain and hopefully not hit ourselves in the face. Nice. Yeah, that's some serious damage. And back. That bomber definitely got us pretty good there. Try to keep my distance a little bit because there's a bomber. There we go. Okay, now we're good. And yeah, the normal Krieg weapons are still good when we're not in melee. See if we can get a blood explosion on him. Yeah, that did pretty good actually. Nice. And of course we're hitting ourselves. Alright, not bad though. Continue on, and as you can see, melee Krieg is definitely still viable in the higher OP levels. I think a lot of people have this conception of Krieg that you basically can't do it as the game goes on, but you definitely can. Just kind of spray down there until we can go back into melee. I'm so surprised I haven't been damaged enough to go back into release the beast. There we go. But yeah, I mean, it's perfectly capable outside of it too, so it's not a big deal. Go down here. Okay, we got the kill. Very nice. A lot of visual clutter going on. Nice. I mean, it's still doing fantastic damage. We are going through pretty quick. I mean, melee Krieg's just super fun. He's a very strong character. It's a little hard to pull off at times for sure, but it's far from not being viable. Alright, let's just slag him up, go back into melee. Pretty much the whole idea of this build. Slag things and then go melee. And hopefully don't hurt yourself. Alright. Got him. Can't really see the others. Oh, is there one back there? There we go. Enough. Kill him, that's okay. Alright. Even when they're not slagged, the damage is really not that bad. But, I mean, that's kind of what the bouncing body is for, is to make sure that they are slagged. Stuck there. Release the beast again after slagging. It's a pretty simple concept, in theory. The execution of melee Krieg is a lot harder than, oh my gosh, I thought I just fell into the pit, what it may seem. But the concept is simple, slag things and go into melee and destroy them. That's pretty much it. Where are you running to? Nowhere, because you just got this. I may die to him, since I'm not going to be able to release the beast. Where are you going?
Burning, melting goodness!
Nice. Gotta release the beast and we'll go to work on him. Easy enough. Yeah, melee Krieg, put in work on OP10. Where I think melee Krieg is generally disregarded. Oh, that did not help, but we just immediately chain back into release the beast. Yeah, if we can hit crits with that, that's quite a bit. Don't hit ourselves. Yeah, pretty much had no issues.
Never stop
At
the
least I don't think so.
Never.
Been a pretty clean run through. High damage. And high survivability. As long as you can release the beast chain effectively. Let's see who's the stronger badass lunatic. I'm thinking it's Krieg. Wow. It's true.
Open your veins.
Gonna come down. Sort of. Just use the Herald until they decide they wanna... Oh! Aw, man. I got bursted down too quickly to get into that release the beast range, but we'll be fine. There we go. And now we're good. Took a ton of damage there. Like, really fast. Nothing is slagged, so I may want to sort of disengage and try to get a range kill. There we go. Okay, that should fix that problem. There we go. Now everything should be good. Blood explosion. There we go. Nice. It's a good little pod shot there. Okay. Continue forward. Almost at the end here. Try to finish it off with some melee action. And there we go. Might just add a blood explosion. Yep. Nice. And that is it, guys. Didn't really rely on my weapons that much. I did use the Herald and Bada Boom, and I did use the Peak Opener too, actually. Occasionally when I wasn't really in melee range or they weren't putting me low enough to release the beast. And it does some serious work. So yeah, there's the build. It's quite strong. Melee Krieg is no slouch, even on OP10. Hope you enjoyed, guys. Have a good night or day.